All eyes are fixed on Israel, and the tension is increasing. A clash of beliefs between Muslims and Jews over the Temple Mount hints at a prophecy's looming fulfillment. Are the end-time prophecies taking place? So in this video, let's explore the latest warning from Israel and what might be unfolding in our world today. Here we begin. Many people see biblical prophecies as ongoing rather than one-time events. They believe that certain prophecies were only partially fulfilled in the past and are currently unfolding. They come into the Old Testament, specifically in books like Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and Daniel. In these ancient texts, we encounter prophecies about significant events, such as the restoration of Israel, the return of the Jewish people to their homeland, the rebuilding of Jerusalem, and the establishment of the Messianic Kingdom. It seems as though these biblical writings were predicting future occurrences with incredible accuracy. One such prophecy unfolds in the story of Solomon, who, upon becoming king, recognized the need for a permanent place of worship for Yahweh. Solomon gathered vast resources, including gold, silver, bronze, cedar wood, and skilled workers from various places to achieve this. After 7 years of dedicated effort, the construction of the temple was completed. The rise and fall of Solomon's temple. Regrettably, Solomon's temple did not stand the test of time. In 586 BCE, the Babylonians, under the leadership of King Nebuchadnezzar II, invaded Jerusalem, laying waste to the temple and a significant part of the city. This devastating event led to the captivity of the Israelites in Babylon. After several decades, a turn of events occurred as Cyrus the Great, the king of Persia, issued a decree allowing a group of Israelites to return to Jerusalem. This marked a pivotal moment, enabling them to rebuild their city and the temple under the leadership of Zerubbabel. Continuing the exploration, around 515 BCE, after years of dedicated effort, the Israelites completed the construction of the Second Temple. This momentous achievement, marked by 4 years of blood, sweat, and tears, culminated in a grand dedication ceremony dedicated to Yahweh. Sacrifices were made, and joyous celebrations echoed throughout the community. Fast forward to a few centuries later, Herod the Great emerged as a prominent figure, ruling from 37 to 4 BCE. With grand ambitions, he envisioned transforming the Second Temple into a symbol of power and opulence. He undertook extensive renovations to achieve this, sparing no effort to make the temple befitting of its sacred role. However, despite Herod's elaborate enhancements, tragedy struck once more in 70 CE. Under Titus's command, the Romans stormed into Jerusalem during the First Jewish-Roman War. They laid siege to the city and, regrettably, destroyed the Second Temple. This event marked a profound shift in the religious landscape. Challenges and shifting religious focus. Since the destruction of Herod's temple, no new temple has been rebuilt on the same site. The region faced challenges as it came under the rule of different empires, each with its own policies and restrictions. Consequently, rebuilding the temple became a complex task. Post-destruction, Judaism transformed, shifting towards prayer and study rather than centralized worship at a physical temple. The emergence of Rabbinic Judaism became the primary form of religious practice, with synagogues serving as community centers in lieu of temples. However, some segments of Israeli society express a desire to rebuild a third temple on the same site. Despite this aspiration, the journey is uncertain, given opposition from various groups, particularly Islamic organizations. Further, examining the intricate power dynamics in the region, significant Islamic structures, such as the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, have been constructed on the Temple Mount. Any endeavor to alter or reconstruct a Jewish temple on that site would undoubtedly provoke uproar and widespread conflict due to the sensitivities surrounding this sacred space. Despite the challenges, the reconstruction of the Third Temple is considered pivotal to fulfilling biblical prophecies and ushering in the Messianic Age. However, the realization of this prophecy remains uncertain, given the complexities involved. The political and religious implications make the journey towards reconstructing the temple fraught with controversy and potential conflicts. Fulfillment of biblical prophecies. When examining cases where biblical prophecies found fulfillment, tangible evidence emerges from historical records and past events. This is illustrated in Ezekiel 37:21-22, where the prophecy spoke of God bringing the Israelites back to their land. This aligns with the formation of the modern state of Israel in 1948, akin to a nation being born in a single day, echoing Isaiah 66:8. Turning our attention to other prophecies, Matthew 24:6-7 predicts wars and rumors of wars, with Jesus stating that while conflicts will occur, they won't signify the end. The occurrence of 2 world wars and numerous military clashes is seen by some as an ongoing fulfillment of this prophecy. Similarly, Luke 21:11 prophesies natural disasters, including earthquakes, famines, and pestilences, aligning with recent major natural disasters. These fulfillments contribute to the conviction among Jews that the end is approaching. However, recognizing the need for proactive measures, they understand that waiting idly for the Temple Mount issues to resolve is not an option. Instead, they have taken the initiative by establishing the Sanhedrin, an institution tasked with overseeing and managing the necessary arrangements for the anticipated reconstruction. In the pursuit of rebuilding the Third Temple, the Sanhedrin has undertaken significant efforts to prepare for the future restoration of temple service. The emphasis extends beyond mere physical structures and rituals. It encompasses a holistic approach to honor the connection between the land and the divine. As Rabbi Hillel Weiss, the spokesperson for the Sanhedrin, points out, the temple isn't just about animal sacrifices and blood, it's also about the connection between the land and the divine. To meet the agricultural needs of the Third Temple, the Sanhedrin is actively involved in various projects. One noteworthy initiative is the creation of the biblical temple forest. This forest holds crucial significance, providing the necessary resources for temple service. It serves as a testament to the intricate connection between the land and the sacred rituals envisioned for the future temple. Recognizing the importance of skilled individuals for the temple service, the Sanhedrin has established an institution to train people who will serve as priests in the Third Temple. Simultaneously, efforts are underway to manufacture a replica of the ancient temple materials. Some of these materials are already displayed, showcasing the meticulous work put into recreating elements essential for the temple's functioning. The challenge of the red heifer, a pivotal element. However, not all aspects of the reconstruction seem straightforward. One particularly crucial element, the red heifer, poses a unique challenge. Referencing the Book of Numbers, 19:2-10, God commands Moses and Aaron to instruct the Israelites to bring a red heifer unblemished and never used for work. This heifer plays a central role in purification rituals, where its blood is sprinkled towards the front of the tabernacle. The process doesn't end with the heifer's slaughter. Afterward, the heifer, cedar wood, hyssop, and scarlet material are burned. The resulting ashes are collected and stored in a clean place outside the camp. These ashes hold vital significance in future purification rituals. Mixed with water, they create a solution used to cleanse individuals who have come into contact with a dead body, rendering them ritually impure. Further, why are these requirements so important? The answer is they carry profound symbolic and ritualistic meanings rooted in ancient religious practices. The red color of the heifer is intricately linked to concepts of blood and sacrifice. Its unblemished state symbolizes purity, serving as a potent metaphor for cleansing from impurity. Beyond the surface, these rituals represent a spiritual renewal, allowing individuals to become ritually clean once again. In ancient religious contexts, the red heifer's rituals bear significance beyond the immediate actions. The red heifer becomes a powerful symbol of purity and cleansing through its spotless nature. The ritual described in Numbers 19, where the red heifer was slaughtered outside the camp, carries ancient echoes of symbolic purification and atonement. Drawing parallels between the red heifer rituals and Christian beliefs, some interpret these ancient practices as early symbolic representations of Jesus' sacrifice for the forgiveness of sins. The spotlessness of the red heifer finds resonance in Jesus, being often referred to as the spotless Lamb of God. His sacrificial act is seen as a means to redeem humanity from sin. Examining the ritual described in Numbers 19, where the blood of the red heifer was sprinkled by a priest on the tabernacle 7 times, draws parallels to Jesus' crucifixion outside Jerusalem. This act of sprinkling blood is seen as representing purification and atonement, mirroring Jesus' sacrifice on the cross, where his blood was shed to bring forgiveness for sins. This early Christian interpretation of the red heifer rituals as symbolic representations of Jesus' sacrifice is evident in various texts of the New Testament. For instance, the book of Hebrews explicitly parallels the red heifer sacrifice and Jesus' sacrifice on the cross. Hebrews 9:13-14 articulates this connection, stating, "The blood of goats and bulls and the ashes of a heifer sprinkled on those who are ceremonially unclean sanctify them," drawing a comparison to the blood of Christ, offering cleansing for the conscience and enabling service to the living God. Further, building on the interpretation that the rituals involving the red heifer in the Hebrew Bible serve as symbolic foreshadowing of Jesus' ultimate sacrifice for the atonement of sins, the arrival of the red heifer holds profound symbolic significance. According to this interpretation, these ancient rituals find resonance in the Christian belief that they foreshadowed the ultimate sacrifice made by Jesus for the redemption and atonement of humanity. After exploring various technological innovations to provide the elusive red heifer, the Jewish community faced challenges until they received what they perceived as answers to their prayers. This marked a pivotal moment, as the arrival of the red heifer was seen as a divine intervention and a sign that the end-time prophecy was drawing near. Arrival of red heifers. Yes, recently 5 special red heifers arrived in Israel from Texas. These heifers, under a year old, hold immense significance. If they remain completely red without any marks, they can be utilized to produce special ashes. These ashes play a crucial role in Jewish law for purifying individuals who have come into contact with a dead body. This unique form of cleanliness is essential for the future priests, Kohanim, to perform their duties in the anticipated Third Temple. Initially, the heifers undergo quarantine in Haifa for at least 7 days to ensure their health. Following this, they are distributed to various locations in Israel, with one location open for public viewing. These heifers are cared for until they reach the appropriate age for the ritual, starting from their 3rd year. The Bona Israel organization, comprising both Jews and Christians, played a pivotal role in locating and bringing these heifers to Israel. Byron Stinson, a rancher from Texas, raised the cattle. A special ceremony at Ben Gurion Airport marked their arrival, attended by significant figures from the Temple Institute, such as Rabbi Chanan Kupietsky, Rabbi Zachi Mamo, Rabbi Yisrael Ariel, and Rabbi Azariah Ariel, alongside Byron Stinson and Netanel Isaac from the Jerusalem and Heritage Ministry. After the quarantine was completed, the calves were released to 2 different locations in Israel. One location was made accessible to the public, while the other remains undisclosed. The decision to keep one location undisclosed serves as a precautionary measure to ensure the safety and integrity of the red heifers. Given the tremendous importance of the temple and its rituals for the Jewish people, any disruption or desecration would be deemed a serious offense. Keeping one location undisclosed minimizes the risk of external influences that could compromise the sanctity of the red heifer and its crucial role in the purification rituals central to the anticipated Third Temple. The red heifers will be meticulously cared for at the undisclosed locations in Israel, receiving proper nourishment and attention until they reach their 3rd year. During this crucial period, they will be prepared for a significant role in the purification process, as their remains will be turned into ashes. This meticulous care is an integral part of the Jewish preparations for the future rebuilding of the Third Temple and the fulfillment of prophecy. Sukkot Festival, commemorating the journey. Recently celebrated, Sukkot is a significant Jewish festival commemorating the Israelites' journey through the desert after leaving Egypt. Also known as the Feast of Tabernacles or the Feast of Booths, Sukkot is distinguished among the three major pilgrimage festivals in Judaism, alongside Passover and Shavuot. One of the key rituals observed during Sukkot is the water libation ceremony, also known as Simchat B'Tashoah. This ancient practice involves pouring water onto the altar in the temple in Jerusalem. With deep historical roots, it was central to Sukkot celebrations during biblical times, especially in the era of the Second Temple. During the Sukkot celebrations in the era of the Second Temple, a grand gathering would take place each day at daybreak. The priests would descend to the Shiloh Spring, also called the Siloam Spring, located outside the walls of Jerusalem. They would collect water in a golden flask and return to the temple through the designated water gate. As the priests reached the water gate, the sound of a shofar, a ram's horn, would resonate, marking the start of a joyous procession. Accompanied by musicians playing various instruments and singing hymns of praise, the priests would make their way to the temple. During this procession, the crowd would wave willow branches in unison, adding to the celebratory atmosphere. Upon entering the temple, the priests would engage in symbolic actions. One priest would pour a silver vessel filled with wine into a separate bowl on the altar, signifying an essential part of the ritual. Simultaneously, another priest would pour the water from the golden flask into a different bowl. These two bowls played a crucial role in a symbolic ceremony in the temple. Connected by narrow pipes, these bowls facilitated the flow of both wine and water into a drain on the side of the altar. This intricate setup allowed for a meaningful combination of two essential elements. During the pouring of water and wine, the priests engaged in reciting prayers and offering blessings. This ceremonial act underscored the symbolic importance of water as a representation of life and sustenance. Beyond symbolism, the act served as a supplication for rainfall, especially significant during Sukkot, which falls during autumn when rain is vital for successful agricultural endeavors. In recent times, on 12th of October, this ceremony of spiritual reawakening has been revived, with Jewish leaders, musicians, and Orthodox Jewish faithful participating. The rituals were meticulously performed, echoing the practices of biblical days. Led by Kohanim, priests donning special attire, and accompanied by Levites playing musical instruments, the ceremony retraced the steps from Shahar Hashpat in the Old City of Jerusalem to Shiloh, also known as Siloam Springs, following the paths of the ancient temple. Silver trumpets resonated at each stop as the crowd chanted and danced during the parade. Supervised by important rabbis, the group carried a golden jug filled with water from the Shiloh pool. At the mountain summit, a model altar and tools were set up, mirroring the practices of the old temple. The altar was adorned with large leafy branches, consistent with ancient temple traditions. The ceremony concluded with the priestly blessing and the Hakel ceremony, a rare event occurring once every 7 years. While the water ceremony is not explicitly mentioned in the Torah, it is considered part of the oral traditions passed down from Moses. Despite this absence in written scripture, people view it as a joyous holiday. This ceremony would span 15 hours in the Old Temple, with celebrations continuing through the night until the next morning when temple services resumed. The Sukkot celebrations drew people from around the world, creating a day of worship for all. In the final 6 days of the Sukkot holiday, a water ceremony took place during the morning service. Priests filled a flask with spring water and journeyed from the temple to the Shiloh spring at the base of Mount Moriah. Climbing the stone altar in the temple's courtyard, 2 priests poured wine and water into special holes designated for this sacred ceremony. The Shiloh pool, also known as Shalom in English and Silwan in Arabic, holds biblical significance and is expected to be rejuvenated with the completion of the Third Temple. Pilgrims traditionally started their journey to Jerusalem at this pool for biblical feasts. After cleansing in the pool, they proceeded to the inner court of the Temple Mount to offer sacrifices. Battle of Armageddon. However, the atmosphere took a concerning turn when more than 800 Israeli settlers, accompanied by Israeli forces, forcefully entered the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in East Jerusalem. This unexpected incident added a layer of complexity to the spiritual events, highlighting the challenges and tensions present in the region. In examining these events, it's evident that many biblical prophecies have found fulfillment, except for one, the Armageddon. To understand the significance of Armageddon in the biblical context, we turn to the book of Revelation. The scripture states, "And they gathered them together to the place called in Hebrew Armageddon." The book of Revelation foretells Armageddon as a gathering place for armies during the end times. This vile event is depicted as nations assembling for war against God. According to Revelation 19:11-21, Jesus Christ returns to earth as a conquering warrior, leading an army of angels. In this decisive battle, the forces of evil are defeated, and Christ establishes his kingdom. Further, the Battle of Armageddon symbolizes the ultimate confrontation between Satan and his followers and God's intervention to bring judgment and justice. It signifies the victory of righteousness over wickedness and marks the culmination of God's plan for humanity's redemption. The term Armageddon originates from the Hebrew Har Megiddo, meaning Mount Megiddo. This ancient city in present-day Israel holds historical significance as a strategic battlefield. The mention of Armageddon in Revelation draws upon this historical context to symbolize a profound battle between forces of good and evil. Timing of Armageddon and crises in the Holy City. While the Battle of Armageddon is expected to occur after the construction of the Third Temple, concerns arise due to ongoing crises in the Holy City. The heightened tensions and severity of disputes between Muslims and Jews over the ownership of the Temple Mount raise questions about whether these crises might lead to the prophesied Armageddon. Regardless of the uncertainties, the hope is for God's divine will to prevail in these complex circumstances. The intricate dynamics in the Holy City prompt contemplation on the potential role of these crises in the fulfillment of the prophecy of Armageddon or the possibility of other contributing factors. What do you think of these final warnings from Israel? Comment below and subscribe for more.